Hi, guys. Welcome back to Raw the Podcast. I'm your host, Allie, founder of The Cheeky Clean, a wellness brand empowering conscious consuming. And you've got just me today for a little quickie. I've been doing quite a few guests back to back recently, and that always gets me thinking and what information I want to bring to you, what I'm doing differently, and always want to make sure that we're keeping it real and getting back to the basics when it comes to clean living. I think the wellness industry in general is so unrelatable and so unattainable. And so I wanted to just get on here today and talk a little bit about what reality really means when it comes to living cleaner, healthier, happier, and longer, which is truly the point of the cheeky lifestyle. It's to take the learned pain that I saw family members go through, marry that with the knowledge that I gained behind the scenes in the corporate chemical industry to realize that our systems aren't protecting us, and to find different lifestyles and routines that help my habits shift to become ones that are better fueling my highest being. I first and foremost want to talk about a book that's changed my life recently. It's called Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Dr. Bob Proctor. He is now passed away, but you guys know how much I love Dr. Joe. This guy, as my friend Lisa says, is basically his cousin or his uncle. They are two cuts from the same cloth, so to say. And this book has shifted my perspective in ways that I can't explain. Every now and again, I come across a teacher or a guiding light that shifts the trajectory of the way that I think. And I think when that happens, it's so important to share it. And this book, I've listened on audio now. I'm on my third time listening through. He also mentions how, speaking of listening to a book the third time through, how if you really find value in a piece of literature or a book or an article, reading it once, listening to it once is almost worthless. The hungry come back to feast. And it is so valuable in order to truly learn how to change, to grow through repetition. And if you think back to how we learned in school, repetition, repetition, repetition. How many times can we do the same thing over and over again until that is drilled in our head? And sad to say, but facts being, most of what we've learned growing up is not going to get us to our highest version of being. And in fact, when we learn how to change those thoughts and those norms and those processes, we're actually going to grow new habits and new evolution. We are all, I've said it before, but I fucking believe it. We are all capable of achieving a destiny beyond our wildest dreams on this earthly plane. And the first part is knowing that you're capable of that. And then every single day doing everything in your power to shift your thoughts and feelings, more importantly, to reach a frequency that is different than the one that you've been living in, because that's when you change your life. And that's when you open for opportunities to enter that you could never even imagine would be part of your movie. And Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life has helped me really see so much of what I was focusing on was taking up space and how little time I had left for the things that were really going to move the needle forwards. You can be doing the most, but if you're not doing it right, you're going nowhere. And there's a difference between gaining too much knowledge and not gaining enough knowledge that you can apply. So there's something really valuable and maybe stopping the hunt and starting the application and the embodiment of that knowledge that you have found to be soul shifting for you. So I'm rereading the Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life every time that I'm doing anything that could require headphones in my ears, walking, doing the dishes, cleaning my house, literally doing anything. I'm listening to that book. I also love a hard copy read as well. I think it takes different areas of the brain, different function, and especially before bed to get off of a screen and to really wind down. I like a hard copy book. So I'm now reading for the second time through Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, another life-changing book that I plan to read multiple more times in order to implement the strategies that are so thoughtful and simple to get me to my highest next version, both in life, business, relationships, everything. When it comes to being attainable and relatable, which is really the reason why I started this page in the first place, is to help anyone see that the norms aren't working and starting to make changes in your life is something that's powerful and empowering. And I want you to know that it's not always perfection. Last week, I actually got sick for the first time in a really long time. I got a sinus infection. I was able to do things like vitamin D, vitamin C, collagen amino supplementation, immune boosting supplements, eating healthy, eating clean, eating a lot of omegas, 6s like salmon, and using colloidal silver both under the tongue and in the nose as a natural antibiotic to cure my sinus infection and cold the natural way. I did not go on antibiotics and ruin my gut. I didn't even go to my doctor. I was able to reel it in and first and foremost, rest, which is hard for me. And it goes to show you that you can be a clean, healthy, aware, conscious person, and you can still run yourself and your body into the ground if you are not living in the highest version way for yourself. What I found was that I needed to let go in order to let in and really refocus myself, reprioritize myself, and move through the rest of the summer in what I call the detox dial-in. I was talking to my friend Jen, who owns this beautiful studio, who is also one of my best friends. Throughout this process, I found myself in a little bit of a mini depression when I went through this sickness because it's really hard for me to slow down. God missed the days when we're paid a salary and we take a sick day. But when it comes to really being on a mission to bring value and service to consumers in this entrepreneurship vision that I'm growing, it requires energy, and mine was depleted. And I was stressing about it, and I was having anxiety about it and guilt about it. And for the first 2 days, I was getting worse because I wasn't allowing myself to slow down. And I was talking to my friend Jen, and she said something funny. She said, we are coining it the summer depression in Cleveland because we go from waiting all this time for the sun to come out to then it being so bloody hot that we can't even walk our dogs outside and everyone is depressed. And I just thought that was so funny, yet so relatable, because here I am in the most beautiful time of the year, and I'm sitting inside in my AC. Everywhere we go is just dust, dander, stuck inside once again. My dogs can't even walk for longer than 15 minutes without getting so hot, and we have to wait until certain times of the day. And so what was I doing? I was working, stressing, and not doing enough of what makes my soul shine, and or doing too much of what doesn't. And through this darkness, I found a new light, which is always how it goes. And I wanted to share just a little bit about what that looks like and what detox dial-in steps I'm taking through the rest of the summer to make sure that I'm staying on my high frequency and not falling back into a chaotic, sick mess. Because when I tell you it's not always roses, and if you look at my page and think that it's unattainable because it's perfection, look deeper and listen to the podcast because that's far from facts. So first and foremost, my sleep schedule, that is going to be a non-negotiable for me. I definitely, as the nights have gotten lighter, longer, my discipline with going to bed at the same time every night, which is ideally getting in my bed at 8:30 and starting to read, started to fall back. That, and I was feeling guilty and like I needed to be doing more social things or here and there saying yes to stuff, even if it's a later dinner, that's not in alignment with my circadian rhythm and more so with the mornings that I want to have. The reason why I want to go to bed at this time is because I want a nice, beautiful, restorative 8 hours of sleep. And I want to get my ass up early. When I tell you I am a completely different person when I wake up early in the morning versus when I sleep in until 7, 8 a.m., night and day, you guys. And I just want to empower you, if there's one small change that you can make, is to get your sleep schedule in line, and we can do it together. The second thing is going to bed on a high frequency. I was finding myself getting into my bed or getting close to bedtime and catching up on DMs or emails or things that I needed to respond to messages wise. And I was finding that I was spiking my cortisol. I've decided that I'm now time batching. So I'm spending my days when it comes to my screen time in batches. This will avoid over scrolling and especially scrolling late into the evening. And instead at night, before I go to bed, I'm doing a daily gratitude practice where I'm writing down 10 things that I'm grateful for every single night on a piece of paper. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not, well, I'm a little tired tonight, so I'm not going to do it. Not, I don't have time. Not, it's fine. Every single night for the rest of the summer, bare minimum, I am writing 10 things I'm grateful for every single night. And in just the last week of doing this, my mental space has shifted so greatly because I'm noticing and realizing and becoming conscious and aware as I write of how much beauty is in my life and how much value and love and gratitude that I have for the people, the body, the health, all of these things that we so often take for granted or more so just don't really think about. That's so powerful. Gratitude is one of the highest states of being, and I've found this very simple 5-minute practice to be so mind shifting, not only in the quality of sleep that I have, but the vibe that I wake up on the next day. So I'm challenging you guys to join me in the 10 things of gratitude before you go to bed challenge because it's a powerful and beautiful thing. Next is not overworking, and that includes not overworking out. I love weight training. To me, weight training and strength training is a way it far exceeds physical for me. It's a space to mentally remind myself of my power, my discipline, and my highest version that's capable in and out of the gym. But I have to have time for recovery and I have to mix that up with other types of working out throughout the week that also yields value and longevity. And especially as women for our hormones, if we're overtraining, especially too close together in a 24-hour time period, we may be doing more disservice than service to our bodies. So I've started doing things like bike riding and walking and running and playing ball with my dogs and yoga, of course, Pilates, things throughout the week that are just as valuable. Weight training is always going to have a space. Lifting heavy things is aligned with anti-aging and regenerating cells that allows you to live longer, better, stronger in all ways. And weight training 3 to 4 days a week will continue to be a priority for me. But I'm also finding that incorporating these other movement processes, even if that means waking up early to bike ride, is bringing me so much joy. And when we're in Cleveland and we have this time where it is beautiful out. And even if that means earlier or later for a sunrise or sunset, to do something different and get a new type of workout to mix in has been mind shifting for me. It also includes not overworking on things that are not pushing me forwards. Back to time blocking, I was finding myself kind of running in 20 different directions. I took this time when I was sick to really look at my schedule and not only my schedule, but my priorities and start to say, okay, how can I get to a point where I know what I'm doing in a week and start time blocking, scheduling time out to execute on those specific things so that I am moving the things forward that I need to. And that starts with 1, prioritization, 2, time blocking, and 3, discipline. If you schedule it out and you get a game plan, you can execute on it. If you don't schedule it out and have the game plan down, you will run in 100 different directions and nothing will move forwards. Having to take the time to reel it in reminded me and clearly showed me how important it was that I started to dial in on my time and my energy on very specific things in my life. And honestly, that includes socially. I talked before about saying no to things, but I'm doubling down this summer. And if it is not something that is in complete alignment with what I want to be building and focusing on in this season of my life, it has to be a no for me. And it has to be a guilt-free no for me. Guilt, shame, anxiety, that shit will kill you. It will kill your immune system. And so you have to make a conscious decision in your own integrity for yourself as to what is going to serve you. It may not be forever that I say no to dating and dinners, but as of right now, it is something I have to reel it back on. I put a really deep Substack out last week, which honestly was hard to even publish. I sent it to one of my friends and had her read it first and kind of like give me the courage to put it out there because it's so personal and vulnerable. But I want to share it with you here because I do think it's something that could potentially help other people. And had I had a chance to read something like that, I may have felt less alone through my process and maybe not have relapsed and feeling like I needed to step back into codependent situations. And frankly, it's hard to talk in detail on, say, my Instagram page and even sometimes here about codependency and addiction that isn't necessarily to a substance, but to feelings and attention from another human being that may not be healthy, but it is something that I am learning how to overcome. And it's weird because sometimes the people that maybe have been in relationships with me are listening to the podcast or following me. And so it's hard to talk about those things so openly. But I really want, especially women or men, to know that they're not alone and that self-love is truly the highest form of loving expression that we can lead from. And until you have self-love, you have nothing. And there is potential detrimental side effects to trying to find that love in other human beings before you find it in yourself. And before I got sick, I relapsed. I fell into a love bombing situation. I was saying yes when I meant no. And so I shared in the Substack some really deep details about a very hard relationship that I found myself in, and more so the patterns that I was bringing into relationships that have gotten me there in the first place. And frankly and truly, I'm proud to notice and be aware of these and to be doing the conscious work in order to heal and change and shift these patterns. And despite society and the Midwest making me feel like my relationship or my job or the output that it looks like on paper is most important, what matters is the inside and the frequency you're living on. And it is okay to take a season where you're not out on these streets dating and doing the most and finding love and energy and attention from other people, places, and things. When you take those seasons to give that to yourself and to really be in alignment with a higher power more than anything, that's when you're able to evolve and elevate and find yourself in the future relationships that are truly meant for you, the future jobs that are truly meant for you. And so that's what I'm circling back to. If there is an opportunity for aligned connections, I am definitely here for it and open to it, but that will include things like walks and bike rides and clean meals together and deep conversations. And it is going to be reeling back on the physical side of things and the events socially with people or late night dates, and sure as hell not drinking. And if you're letting people down, they're not your people. And that includes friends too. Sometimes we're not in the season, and that's okay. Being in my integrity and dialing in that integrity is critical for me because the only way that I'm going to make aligned, wise decisions for my business is if I'm making aligned, wise decisions in my personal life. And I think sometimes those lines can be blurred. And I was blurring one too many lines with friends, relationships, and myself. So detoxifying and getting back to my full heart has been like weights lifted off my back. And I just want to encourage everyone to know that evolution looks different in every season and to stay true to yourself. And when you can give yourself everything you need, It is the best feeling. The core supplements that I'm continuing to take on a daily basis have kind of whittled down before and after my sickness, more so after my sickness, because I'm realizing that taking too much and not doing enough of the nourishing foods, the sleeping right, the lifestyle in alignment with my highest version, the spiritual work and time for manifestation that my heart and soul craves is never going to be cured by a supplement. But there are a couple of core supplements that I am doubling down on. And one, of course, is the collagen. It has vitamin C aminos that have not only helped to regulate my sleep schedule, but also boosted my immunity and are allowing me to, I feel, have maybe some of the best skin that I've ever had in my life, despite being 36 years old and injectable free. And every day I'm finding more and more grace and beauty in looking in the mirror and knowing that it's a natural look and a natural aging process that can actually be prolonged and enhanced when we're supplementing with something quality like the foundational building block, as Abe, who was on the podcast, talked about with us. So powerful. So collagen, specifically sourced, as we talked about, is going to remain a staple. For me, I do 1 scoop in the morning and 1 scoop at night. I also want to talk about creatine because there have been studies that have come out recently about the power of creatine in higher doses for the brain. Not only has this shown to dramatically improve Alzheimer's and dementia, but from a preventative standpoint and a day-to-day standpoint, it actually boosts cognitive function even if we're sleep deprived. That's how powerful it is for the brain. So anywhere from 10 to 20 milligrams daily is now what I'm switching to, which is probably more like 2 to 3 scoops on a day-to-day basis. What I love about it is it mixes in your water so easily you can't even taste that it's in there. And if you're taking it on a consistent basis, you can actually have reduced brain fog, improved clarity and stamina and energy, even if you're not sleeping in the full capacity that your body requires. And not saying that we shouldn't be sleeping in the full capacity, but every now and again, right, we might not get the best sleep, and or maybe we're getting up a little earlier and we don't want to sacrifice that time in the morning. The brain boost that creatine provides is incredible. Making sure you're getting it from a reputable source is key. I've posted it a few times on my stories. I will leave the link to my Shop My page, specifically the supplement options that I recommend, in the show notes. Also would be magnesium. It has been instrumental for recovery and hormone support for me. I am taking that every single day. I take it at night before bed, and it's in my top 3 powerhouse supplements. Last being an electrolyte blend. I love Body Bio. I've talked about it before. I can't recommend it enough. I take it every single morning with my water and it replenishes the body from the inside out. So those are the cores that I'm sticking to. Everything else to me is just dust in the wind. It's added fluff. I'm getting everything else I need at this moment because it's been sunny out and I've been doing 20 minutes bare minimum of pure sun on my body every single day. I'm getting enough vitamin D at the moment. And then I'm also eating real foods. I would say the majority of my diet consists of fruit, specific leafy green vegetables, products that improve gut health like kimchi, and all natural, local sourced, hormone free, pasture raised raw, if you can get it, dairy, like a Greek yogurt. I also like a kimchi or a sauerkraut for the gut as well. And then I do drink kombuchas. I wish that there was less sugar in them. So when it comes to a Synergy, for example, because I haven't been seeing Bucci Mamas or some of the lower sugar brands in the grocery stores lately, but I will drink a quarter or a half of one per sitting and then save the rest for the rest of the week. Can also do a coconut cult spoonful or 2 every day, getting that quality bacteria, the good gut bacteria in your body. And then core staples of protein, which for me consists of quality grass-fed, local beef, red meat, and high quality, oftentimes salmon, wild caught always, seafood, making sure, again, when we're buying any sort of meat products, we are looking for A2, dairy and meat, local, cruelty-free, knowing the farm where it's coming from. Force of Nature is a great brand if you're shopping commercially. North Union Farmers Market is a great resource. There's also Tremont Farmers Market. Trying to think of the name of the farm that I went to there. I can't offhand, but there is a really great farm that is providing all local grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I'm finding that I'm getting a ton of nutrients through these products, and using those core supplements is giving me energy in life. So I just wanted to share them with you. I'm venturing off next week to a family reunion. I have talked about how I've lost my parents before, and I have, I don't know, maybe a smaller family, I guess, but the majority of my family on my mom's side lives in Maryland. And she was the first of her family to ever move out of the state. And she went to grad school in Toledo and met my dad here, and they ended up settling here. They lived in a couple different other places, Maine, Boston, due to jobs before coming back to the Ohio area. My dad's from Toledo, so I was actually born in Sylvania, Ohio, moved here when I was 2, and we've been in Cleveland ever since. So I don't have a whole lot of family in this particular area. And ultimately, we are all getting together for a family reunion at my family's property in Cambridge, Maryland, for something kind of cool. We buried time capsules in the year 2000, and it's been 25 years, and we are unearthing them from the ground and having this cool reunion and ceremony to see what we put in them. It's cool because obviously it's something my parents put together. I was 25 years young at that point in time, so much has changed, but I'm having this kind of nostalgic experience, and it's bringing up, grief with them not being here, but then more than anything, just immense gratitude to have this family to all get together with and celebrate with, and who love me unconditionally and vice versa. And we are all so different. And I think looking at grief and loss and change over the years, everyone does handle that differently, but seeing that no matter what, there's unconditional love and nothing hits like being with your true family is really powerful and cool. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm riding with my nephews and my brother, sister-in-law down there, like trucking family time. So it will be cool. And I think it will be different because in the past, I've always, partaked in drinking. And my cousin texted me and was super sweet and said she's been listening to the podcast and they've been having some non-alc beverages. And so I'm going to be bringing my NA drinks and my sparkling water and all my health foods. And hopefully they will let me lead them in a family yoga flow. So stay tuned for that. I'll kind of keep you guys posted on what I do to travel. I had a cheeky ask me for travel tips. Always go and take a look at my highlights on my Instagram page at The Cheeky Clean, where I have a plethora of information, but I actually have a whole highlight on travel tips, which is very extensive from the years that I was traveling in the corporate world. But I will share with you guys how I am staying clean and making smart, healthy choices while traveling. It all comes back to one thing, and that's feeling your best and living your highest version. And it's available to all of us, but it starts with choice. And I want to empower you and remind you to make the best, highest version choices for yourself. And when you do that, you can trust that everything you need will come. I pulled a card before this, like I always do, and I had to share it because it is Let It Lie. There's a suitcase on it, and it says, sometimes the luggage looks more lovely left behind. Ever see a person struggling with luggage? The dragging, the kicking, the stuffing, the cursing? Has that been you? Demanding that it heed, demanding that it follow, demanding that it fit. What if you stopped? What if you let it lie? Maybe the luggage is comparison, worry, or regret. Maybe make a decision to move on without it. Would you stand straighter? Would you move through the world with greater ease? If you can't leave it, check it. Feel the dignity and joy in choosing to travel lightly. So as I venture on a family trip, I am choosing to travel light, not only physically, but through the rest of the summer, and letting so much guilt, shame, worry, codependency, stress, overachievement go, and staying rooted in gratitude, love, and all the light that I know is coming. I can't wait to keep connecting with you guys. I have some really cool stuff planned, and I'm so excited to just stay focused on that and continue to grow higher, love more, and live longer with you all. I hope this short little episode can maybe help you find some lights and be a perspective shifter as you dial in the rest of your summer. I'll be back next week. I'll talk to you then, cheeks. And in the meantime, go to thecheekyclean.com for more resources and check out the show notes for links to everything you need. Love ya.